Happy Mother's Day. Mom, happy Mother's Day. Morgan, you too.
I just wanted to wish all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day and send a special message to my mother who's in the stands today. I wanted to say happy Mother's Day and thank you for everything you've done for me.
Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Fox Sports Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Today, it's the finale of this homestand. The Astros taking on the San Diego Padres. Good afternoon, everybody. Bill Brown and Steve Sparks, Pink in the Park Day, wishing all of you happy Mother's Day. And the Astros would love to get those moms out there a win today, Steve.
Well, the Astros are using pink bats today, and the hitters haven't done a great job. The opposing pitchers have done a real good job against the Astros in this entire series. But there's an emergency starter today for the San Diego Padres. We'll see what happens.
He is Tim Stauffer. The starters against the Astros have an ERA under 1, as you see on our Jaguar Key matchup, brought to you by the 2011 Jaguar XJ. If you're the Astros hitters, you've got to feel you've hit rock bottom, Steve.
You really have. And you know what? A lot of times the results lie to guys, and you just have to stay confident with your approach, and hopefully things will turn around a little bit. Hopefully today will be the day on Mother's Day. Hopefully the Astros starters we'll get a little bit of run support coming into the rest of this series.
Roy Oswalt goes to the mound for Houston. The Astros with the worst record in the league. The Padres with the best. Tommy Manzella with Mother's Day wishes.
To all you moms out there, I hope y'all have a happy Mother's Day and have a wonderful day.
On, and the fans are here, many of them wearing their pink to commemorate Mom and all the great things she has done for everybody in the family down over the many years. Everybody involved in this audience has been raised, and you know, a lot of the moms did show up today wearing their pink, and hopefully they're having a special day. Let's take a look now at the Padres lineup for manager Bud Black. And their starting pitcher, of course, was changed. Kevin Correa with a family emergency. Tony Gwynn is the center fielder leading it off. He's followed by Will Venable in right field. Chase Headley at third base. Scott Hairston in left field. Matt Stairs gets the call at first base with Gonzalez resting. Adrian taking a seat today. It's Nick Hundley catching for the first time in this series. Jerry Hairston Jr. is the shortstop. Lance Zawadski gets a start at second base. And the emergency starter is Tim Stauffer.
And pitching for the Astros today, Astros ace Roy Oswalt, fastball, curve, slider, new changeup that he's been throwing a little bit more this season. He's probably had his best year in the last 3 seasons. Roy's right on top of his game. Not a lot of run support like a lot of the other guys on the team.
And for Roy, with his fine 10-2 lifetime record against the Padres, a 2.68 career ERA against them, only one pitcher, Vida Blue, had a better career winning percentage against San Diego. Blue was 11-2. Roy can tie that with a win today. And it'll be Tony Gwynn Jr. leading it off, the 27-year-old outfielder, son of Tony, the Hall of Famer. At 2:03 with a homer, he's driven in 6. And the pink bats are being used by players today, pink wristbands, to commemorate not only Mother's Day but breast cancer research this weekend.
I thought that was just Tony Gwynn.
Yeah.
Everybody's using those. Thought he was just flashy.
Tony was a pinch hitter last night, was 0 for 1. It's his only at bat in this series. He cracks a line drive up the right field line, but it goes foul.
Check that bat.
Yeah. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, Tony's been the part-time starter in center field this year. There's that cupped bat. Now, the end is hollowed out. That's the way many players prefer it, Steve, for the weighting of the bat so they can get more bat speed, right?
Yeah, a lot of guys like to do that just to make the bat feel a little bit more evenly distributed weight-wise. With the wood heavier there on the bottom, a lot of times they don't like that barrel to outrace their hands to the ball.
Lined into right center field. Gwynn leads off with a single. Hunter Pence gets it back in, and the Padres, who won the first 2 of this series, are off and rolling.
All right, defensively for the Astros, got Carlos Lee, Michael Bourne, Hunter Pence out in the outfield. Third base today is Pedro Feliz, Tommy Manziel at short, Keppinger, Lance Berkman, and Humberto Quintero catching Roy today for the 7th time.
Quintero's arm might get an early test from Gwynn. There's strike 1 to Will Venable. Gwynn has 6 steals in 7 attempts, and the Padres are leading the league in steals with 35. 234 for Venable with 4 homers. He's driven in 12.
Padres do a great job at picking good pitches to run on, obviously.
He's going. Quintero's throw to Manziel is high, and he's in with a steal. Number 7 of the year for Gwynn.
Padres stealing at a very high rate, very high percentage. For Roy, it's a 6th stolen base out of 6 tries this year. I'm just wondering if he's tipping something. Other teams might have a little book on him, because in years past, I think last year, only gave up 2 stolen bases. That was a great jump by Tony Gwynn Jr., I think.
So Gwynn's in scoring position. The count 1-1 on Venable. The Padres have 36 steals in 43 attempts now. Fantastic stolen base percentage. And the swing and miss makes it 1-2. The Padres won last night 2-1. Astros getting 3 hits. The Padres Friday night opened the series with a 7-0 win. The Astros got 3 hits in that one. So Bud Black's club is 19-11 with a 1.5 lead in the division. And going to San Francisco next. Check swing call made by Bob Davidson at third, and it's 2-2. They have an off day tomorrow in San Francisco, and then open a series Tuesday against the Giants. And the Padres, during this weekend series, have moved in front of the Giants into the lead.
I was talking to Scott Hairston in the clubhouse earlier. There's nothing better than to outperform expectations. Nobody picked the Padres to do much this season. But, you know, like you said, top of the division, and everybody's just in a good mood. With an off day tomorrow, they should be very happy. Great curveball by Roy right there. Gets Venable out front. Padres trying to stay patient with Venable, but with other guys hitting well in their order, he may not be in the lineup too long.
Chase Headley, 331, looks at ball one. Switch hitter has a 5-game hitting streak. He has 2 homers this season. He's driven in 12 runs. He is 3 for 8 in this series with a home run off Bud Norris Friday night. Headley's done a whale of a job hitting behind Adrian Gonzalez. No Gonzalez behind him today. Fly ball. Carlos Lee. 2 outs. And Scott Hairston hitting cleanup today with Headley moving up to the number 3 spot on the order instead of his usual cleanup position. And Hairston, the left fielder, has been playing center the first 2 games of this series. So it's a different look for Bud Black. He likes to keep all of his players involved.
Much like Brad Mills, Mills has done a nice job keeping Sullivan and Blum sharp by using them as pinch hitters a lot on the days they don't start. And Hairston's just a great offensive player to begin with. Early on in his career as a second baseman with the Diamondbacks, they kept trying to find a position for him to play, but offensively he's never been a deficit for him.
He takes, and there's ball 1 to Hairston. Scott will turn 30 later on this month. He was born in Fort Worth. He had 2 home runs and drove in 3 in the opener of this series Friday night. 2 for 17 against Oswalt, though. That one foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
They've had a few generations of the Hairstons in the major leagues. I'm sure his kids will feel the pressure in about 15 years. He's got 2 young boys. Seems like when Roy's on top of his game, it's when he's throwing his slider early in the count. He gets ahead of a lot of hitters with that slider. Then he goes to work with his fastball and changeup, and typically either puts him away with his curveball or a high fastball.
He gets a strike call to make it 1-2. Astros starting pitchers are winless since the Pittsburgh series here on April 25th. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, the Astros starters are 0-11. Just off the plate, and it's 2-2. Alfonso Marquez, the home plate umpire, was the umpire at first last night when Michael Bourne was tossed on that very close call in the 9th inning. He was called out, and Michael was thrown out of the game immediately by Marquez. There was a slight bumping, unintentional. So the Astros are waiting to see what may come of that, if anything. Hairston strikes out. It's no runs a hit. A runner stranded at second base, no score.
pitcher. Kevin Correa was supposed to start today's game, but had to leave for a family emergency. Stauffer, University of Richmond product, leading the major leagues in relievers ERA, just giving up 1 run in 18 1/3 innings. Fastball, cutter, slider change.
Michael Bourne takes the first pitch. It's strike 1 over the inside corner. 288 for Michael. He's fallen off at the plate. No homers and 3 runs batted in. Nice touch. We've got his mom's name, Carrie, on that graphic. 1-1. Our producer, Wade Robinson, providing those touches on a special day when the moms threw out first pitches to their sons for this game.
Nice. They need to be recognized at least once a year, don't they?
They really do. Should be more often than that, but at least on this special day of theirs.
Especially for a lot of these athletes. That's the way they get to those games, and when the dads were hitting them over the head, the moms were there to hug them.
Tapped up the middle and on through into center field past Jerry Harrison Jr. for a Michael Bourne infield hit. Or hit that goes through the infield. He snapped an 0 for 10. Here's the first pitch ceremony before the game. There were a number of those, moms.
I thought Brandon Lyons' mom had the best arm, but Jeff Blunt's mom had the best command. What do you think? Well, be able to use a couple of them.
You've got a much more extensive scouting report than I do. But they were Linda Sampson, Cynthia Berkman, Nellie Quintero, Valerie Keppinger, Gail Pence, Frances Joy Breeze, Bobby Meacham's mother-in-law, Susie Norris, Sharon Burdak, Susan Fulcino, Connie Minke, Lynn Michaels, and Carrie Bourne. Keppinger taking ball 1, has a 264 average, driven in 9. Nick Hundley, the catcher, has thrown out 3 of 11 this season, trying to steal. And the Astros have stolen 2 bases in 3 tries in this series. Michael's 11 for 14.
That's a great percentage as well. Tim Stauffer, the pitcher right here. He's 4th pick in the first round in 2003 by the Padres. Granted, he was the 4th pick in the draft out of University of Richmond. And after he was picked, he told the Padres that he had an injury. He wanted to be forthright, and usually that guy in that spot in the draft was probably going to get a bonus of about $3 million. And by telling those guys that, he settled for $775,000. I say settled, but he lost a lot of money in that signing, but he gained a lot of respect from the San Diego community and front office and everybody. That they really loved his integrity and his loyalty, and they've given him a lot of chances, and he's finally paying them back this year with a good year.
So they were not aware of this arm problem?
Not when they drafted him, and he wasn't sure the extent of the injury, but as days went by, he felt like it was more serious, and he needed to let him know.
Swing and a miss and a throw out at second base. As Keppinger failed to make contact, Bourne is gunned down from 2 to 6.
Yeah. Hit and run situation. We talked to Brad Mills before the game a little bit. He would like to press the issue a little bit, be aggressive. If these guys feel like they have a good jump, he'd like to get the infielders moving a little bit, give guys a chance to have more holes to hit through. Great release by Hundley.
Now Hadley comes over to field a grounder and throws out Keppinger. Looked like Michael, and this is common to players on a hit and run as opposed to a straight steal. Just paused a fraction of a second before he took off there, Steve.
Yeah, and that's all it takes. And typically if you do pause, you end up standing up a little bit too quickly. Usually you want to stay really low for the first 3 or 4 steps and gradually come out of that. And that time, by looking in, I think Michael raised up a little bit and lost a little bit of momentum.
So the league leader in steals was gunned down. And now it's Lance Berkman batting. At 175 with 2 homers, he has 7 runs batted in. And there's strike 1 for Stauffer. Stauffer has just 1 career start against the Astros here. That was in the 07 season, and it was a disaster. He didn't get the loss, though. 1 ball, 1 strike. He gave up 7 earned runs in 3 2/3 innings. Jason Jennings started for Houston that day, and the Padres got 11 runs in the first. But Stauffer couldn't go 5 to qualify for the win. Fly ball left field. It's curling. It's headed for the corner, and with the slice on it, it does stay fair. Berkman heads for second base, and now the ball gets loose, but he'll hold on with a double.
It's the pink bat. You know, if the Astros score 10 runs today, you're not going to be able to get those bats away from those guys. Take a look at it again. It's a two-seam fastball away right here. Lance does what he's done throughout his career and gone with that pitch and just peppered the Crawford box fence out there in left field. He got a lot on that ball right there. That was a loud base hit right there.
Harrison tracked it down. 2 hits already in the inning. Now it's Carlos Lee. You like Berkman on the interstate at 196 for a batting average. He taps it to third. Headley comes up with it and tags him for the final out. No runs, 2 hits, and a man stranded. Padres nothing, Astros nothing after 1. Years. He came up last night as a pinch hitter where he's very dangerous. Now getting the occasional start and moving in for Adrian Gonzalez at first base today. Takes ball 1. At 158, he's driven in 4.
Doesn't even look like the same guy. Doesn't look like a bowler anymore. I think he's on that P90X.
Matt, 42 years old. He's from New Brunswick, Canada. He's on the 1988 Canadian Olympic team. We're going to miss there. Makes it 1.
How many guys coach hockey in the offseason?
259 homers, though. He came up as a second baseman and was always a good hitter.
Certainly one of the best pinch hitters in recent years, especially for power. And to hit 2 back-to-back big home runs off Jonathan Broxton in the last couple of years. And he's made a name for himself for 15 years, I think.
That's pretty impressive work for Roy's 3rd strikeout of the game. Lance Berkman ran into that tag for the final out there in the first inning.
That's your ideal base running, especially with the ground ball in front of a guy on second base. You should retreat back to second base, and Lance just runs into a tag. And you never know, Headley could throw that ball away there, right there, and you just don't want to give him outs when you don't have to.
Well, by his reaction, he realized what he had done. And there's strike 1 to Nick Hundley. Hundley was to have been the catcher the lion's share of the time this year, but Jorvit Torrealba has caught the first 2 games of this series, and he's caught quite a bit this year. Torrealba performing very well. 4 balls, 2 strikes to Hundley, a .267 hitter with 2 homers, 9 runs batted in.
Nice luxury to have 2 quality, starting catchers like that, be able to keep them fresh throughout the year. There's a few teams in the league still doing that. It's a great luxury. As long as you can keep them on the same page with your starting pitchers, you're in business.
It's 1-2. Hundley, 26 years old. He was a second-round choice in the 05 draft for the Padres. He went to the University of Arizona.
Hundley just got back-to-back looks at the new pitch that Roy's been featuring with the changeup to the right-handed hitters. He hasn't done that a lot this year, but guys who have faced him the last few games that have seen that have kind of done a double take, looked at him like, all right, you come up with a new wrinkle, we better adjust.
Good life on the heater, and he gets a foul tip strikeout. That's number 4 for the Wizards.
That's what that changeup does for you. I mean, he saw back-to-back changeups, slowed his bat down, slowed his eyes down. Quintero calls for a fastball outside, and Roy gets it in the area code. He's got no chance to catch up to that after seeing the last 2 pitches at 82-83.
Jerry Hairston Jr., 213, no homers, 9 runs batted in. Playing shortstop again today for the injured Everth Cabrera, who's on the disabled list with a hamstring injury. Cabrera expected back in a few days. That's ball 1 to Hairston. Hairston is 1 for 7 in this series. And his brother Scott, a big part of this Padre team this year, Steve.
And they couldn't be happier to be playing together. And it feels like they're at home. They love the coaches on this team. They love, obviously, who doesn't love San Diego, the city and the weather and all that's involved. But play together. Can you imagine playing with your brother in the major leagues and both starting? You know, for right now, they're both starting. They're big contributors to this team.
They call Roy for going to his mouth and not wiping off, so that's called a ball 2. It's 2-0 now for Hairston. And 2-1. Now, pitchers this year, the rule has changed a little bit. When they're on the mound, they can go to their mouth with their fingers, but they have to wipe off.
Or you could do like Greg Maddux and lick the first 2 fingers and wipe the 3rd and 4th. That was a good little trick he was pulling. Everybody else knew it but the umpires, apparently.
2-2. He was a cagey one.
He was good.
Never caught that. That's pretty good stuff. In the air to Hunter Pence is right. And it's a 1-2-3 second for Roy Oswalt. It's no score.
Couple of days, you need to take advantage of this. 10 Astros games for just $20. For a limited time, you can get an outfield deck seat to 10 select games for just $20 with the 10 for $20 plan. That's just $2 a game and a savings of $50 per plan. Go to Astros.com to get yours. Brownie?
Thanks, Bart. There's ball 1 to Hunter Pence, a 214 hitter with 2 homers, 7 runs batted in. Right-handed hitters are hitting only .212 against Tim Stauffer this year, who's done an outstanding job as a reliever.
Yeah, just 1 earned run in 18 1/3 innings coming in tonight. Just a home run in his last game in Colorado. It was the first run he's given up all year.
Sharp single to the left of the diving Zawadzki into right center field. And Hunter Pence gets hit number 3 for the Astros. You know, leaving the ballpark last night, Sparky, he felt really good about some changes he had made and the grip on the bat. And he was 1 for 3 last night. He felt he hit the ball sharply.
Well, that was a good sign right there. He kept his left shoulder closed, which has been a little bit of a problem most of the year. Now, you know, everybody in the world knew that that was his problem, and Hunter knew that was his problem. Sean Berry knows his problem, but it's a lot easier said than done to carry it out into a game. And sometimes results lie, but right there, things translated well and get a leadoff hitter for the inning.
And he's aboard for Pedro Feliz. Feliz needs 1 more hit for 1,000 in his career. Pence was thrown out last night trying to steal in the 5th inning, and the manager was asked about it before the game, and he said he encouraged him to run in that situation. 230 for Feliz with a homer, 10 runs batted in. Fox Tracks is brought to you by Gexa Energy, and you see Stauffer with a ball to make it a 1-ball, no-strike count. But Brad Mills wants his club to remain aggressive in certain situations, and he thought that was the right situation for Hunter in the 5th inning last night, trailing 1-0, and he was just thrown out on a perfect throw.
But the last thing you want to do on a team that's struggling a little bit is become timid and sit back and be afraid to make mistakes. And he just wanted to reiterate, if he gives them a green light and they feel like they can get a good jump, but stay aggressive and force the issue.
Has a pretty good lead now, and he draws the throw. And the situation last night was that Hunter was given the green light to run, and it was up to him whether to exercise that or not. He took off.
Typically, a manager will have about 4 or 5 guys on a team that he'll give a green light for the entire season. If they feel like they can get a good jump and the manager trusts those guys that they can pick the right pitches, the right counts, then he'll let them go.
Well, the Padres thought something was up, and they pitched out there. Now this would be the time to go if you're going to go, right? After a pitch out, it's 2-1.
Yeah, they usually don't, you know, pitch out 2 times in a row.
Fly ball hits for right center field. Gwynn comes over and diving Venable flying through the air.
Wow, he covered a lot of ground, sacrificed his body. That was a great catch. I was watching Tony Gwynn most of the time, and Venable came out of nowhere.
He made up ground in a hurry there with that dive.
Former 2-sport athlete at Princeton, basketball MVP in college as well, and just diving for a loose ball right there.
That was spectacular defensive work.
Very fundamental. Watched it go in his glove. He did it all right then.
There's the block by Hundley on the pitch in the dirt. Ball 1 to Manzella. Tommy at 203 with a homer and 5 runs batted in. This Padres team, according to most recent John Dewan statistics, is 3rd in the majors in runs saved. 23 runs saved. That's 23 runs more than the average defensive team would have prevented from scoring.
That equates part of the range of some players and things like that, where usual fielding percentage is not equated.
Well, that was a hit save, that's for sure.
No doubt.
2 men on with nobody out. If that catch is not made, Gwynn wasn't going to get there, and Venable really stepped up for Stauffer to make that play.
Stauffer's at 21 pitches right now, and he hasn't started any games this year, hasn't gone more than 3 innings, and their coaches are probably looking at him anywhere from 60 to 70 pitches, and if he can get into the 4th inning, they'll be really happy.
You talked about the shoulder problems. He missed 08 with the surgery, and then last year he was 4-7 with a 3.58 ERA for the Padres in 14 starts. But this year, exclusively a reliever until today, and with very good numbers. As you've indicated, that low ERA. He started the year with a scoreless inning streak of 17 1/3, and that ended when he took the loss in the 12th inning Wednesday against Colorado on a home run by Ian Stewart. That was his 3rd inning in relief in that game. Double play ball here. There's the flip by Zawadzki, and the turn not in time. It took some time for Jerry Harrison to get that ball on to first, and Manzella was able to beat it.
Good pitch by Stauffer right here. Gets Manzella to just stick his bat out, sink two-seam fastball away. Hard ground ball to second base. It's a close play at first base. Manzella doing a good job hustling down the line.
And when he took that big step to the right, Steve.
Yeah, he lost it in this transfer right here. Usually you let the ball dictate which direction you're going to go as a shortstop, and he went a different direction. I think it cost him a little time.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he can continue where that throw came from and go across the bag the other way, can he make that throw?
I think so. I mean, the runner, Hunter Pence, was bearing down on him. I think he changed his mind because he got there sooner than he expected.
Good point. Ball one to Quintero, a former Padre. So interested in preserving life and limb. Harrison went the other direction. Quintero at 222 has a homer. He's driven in 3 and shoots one on the ground into right field. Manzella can't get to third on that. A sharp single for hit number 2 of the inning, and that catch by Venable looks very big in this inning now.
Yeah, it really does. Astros would have scored by now had that hit fallen in. Stauffer's throwing a lot of fastballs away. Astro hitters recognizing it, not trying to do too much. Put it in play with that big hole on the right side and try to get a few hits strung together. Brad Mills has talked about sustaining innings. See if Roy Oswalt can sustain an inning right here.
With a chance to give himself the lead with 2 men on and 2 outs. 4 hits for the Astros already. Roy has 2 hits this season in 9 at-bats. Well, it's a different Mother's Day for Gene Oswald after their home was leveled in Mississippi, and Roy got the bulldozer out, helped with clearing the land, and work is beginning on rebuilding the home after the tornado hit.
Probably a very special Mother's Day in their house.
Well, Gene, frighteningly, was in that house in about the only room left in a closet that had been built recently. The rest of the house was gone.
Roy had built that extension for that closet as well, from what I understand.
In the dirt, good stop by Hundley there. If you're Stauffer and you found out probably this morning, maybe last night, you're making this start, that's a change in your world, isn't it, Steve?
It really is. You know, sometimes it's a great thing and sometimes it's a bad thing. Sometimes if you have a guy who anticipates a start for 3 or 4 days, he really gets nervous by game time. But sometimes if you find out that morning and get out there, then you're a little bit more focused. So sometimes it really helps guys.
So Watsky flips to first, and it's no runs, 2 hits, 2 left for the Astros. They've had some traffic, but it's no score after 2. Cha-Chen Low settling into that relief role with a low ERA. And Lexington, J.D. Martinez is bashing at .355 with 5 homers, 30 runs batted in already for Martinez.
It's pretty impressive, 30 RBIs this early.
Yes, it is. He drove in 3 last night. Cody Hinsey drove in a couple himself with a couple of hits. Here's the 3rd inning now for Roy Oswalt. That's Zawatsky, a rookie, fouling it back, strike 1. Zawatsky went to San Diego State, and he's up with the injury to Everth Cabrera with 1 hit and 5 at-bats so far as a major leaguer. Switch hitter with a .200 batting average.
And they like this guy. They think this guy is their second baseman of the future. Obviously, Cabrera had a great rookie year last year. He's on the DL right now, but Zawatsky could be his partner up the middle for years to come.
0-2 with David Eckstein getting a day off. Zawatsky came up from Portland on the 30th of April and got his first hit off Randy Wolf. Rolled out to second. Capachero over to Berkman, 1 out.
Roy's doing a great job of using all his pitches early. Sometimes guys like to keep a couple of those pitches in their back pocket early in the game, especially the first time through the order. But I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest with you, unless you just have an overpowering fastball. You'll find yourself in the shower pretty quickly unless you use them all. When he's got command of all 4 of them this early in the game, he's going to make it tough on them.
Tim Stauffer's the batter. Looking at ball 1. What an impressive performance last night by Felipe Paulino. 11 strikeouts and no walks in 7 innings. He allowed 1 earned run. He was a tough luck loser, and he finds himself 0-5. But if you've been watching him pitch, you probably like what you've been seeing lately.
Well, obviously, it's going to be a roller coaster for a young guy like that, especially power guys sometimes early in the career. Randy Johnson, and a lot of guys. That 0 walks yesterday to go along with those 11 strikeouts, I think that's the most impressive. I think Brad Arnsberg is going to do a great job with he and Bud Norris.
It's been tough to outpitch the Padres this year with their 2.74 staff ERA. Number 2 in the league in Arnsberg. Darla can be proud of his work. Strikeout looking. Stauffer is strikeout victim number 5.
Roy's got them all working today. That's no fair to a pitcher right there after he's throwing 93, 94 mile an hour pitches. Drop a curveball in like that right on the corner. Stauffer's a good golfer, but not a great hitter. I've seen him golf a couple times.
Okay. Tony Gwynn puts that bat down to measure the distance, see where his stance is going to be. He'll open the game with a single to right field. And takes the breaking ball away from ball 1. This is his 17th start in center field this year.
Pine Tar's big contrast on the bat, on the pink bats, isn't it? You know exactly how high up the bat it goes right there. George Brett may have gotten banged a couple times earlier. What is it, 17 inches? I remember right. Tim McClellan put it on the ground talking about that George Brett Pine Tar scandal.
That's right.
To measure with home plate.
Rolled out to second. Captain over to Berkman again. And in the middle of the 3rd, there's no score.
Happy Mother's Day. Mom, happy Mother's Day. Morgan, you too.
Who's Morgan?
Morgan's his wife.
Oh, it's not Ensberg.
No, it's not Ensberg. A lot of the moms enjoying the afternoon out. They're hoping to see the Astros take the lead here in the third with Michael Bourne leading it off. He singled to start the game for the Astros in the bottom of the first, but then was thrown out at second base. And Keppinger swung and missed on a hit and run play.
Wonder if he exchanged pleasantries with the home plate umpire Alfonso Marquez before his first at bat today. He had a questionable bump with him yesterday late in the game.
Yeah. Michael in the heat of the moment on that very, very close call. Might have been about a foot whether he was safe or out. Didn't like the call. 1-2.
I'm sure he said something. I mean, it was obviously unintentional, and I think the umpire stepped into a little bit of momentum that Michael had going toward him to argue his point.
There's the play by Jerry Hairston, and in time to get that out. One down.
Stauffer doing a nice job keeping his pitch count down to 34 through 2 1/3. Trying to give the bullpen a little bit of unneeded rest. These guys haven't thrown much at all this year.
Graduation day is around the corner, and the Astros have the perfect gift for your special grad. The 6-game grad pack lets your graduate choose the 6 Astros games they want to see during the 2010 season. Plans start at only $42. Visit Astros.com/grad today. Jeff Keppinger takes ball 1. He grounded out in the first inning after that hit and run play went awry for the Astros, but Brad Mills talked about that today. He was questioned by Richard Justice for quite a while, so we expect to see a nice Richard Justice column tomorrow in the Houston Chronicle. 1-1, but good questioning about what the manager does during times like this. The 9-21 season, offensive woes.
How much sleep you're getting?
Yeah, all those sorts of things. Should you get tossed out of a game? He said, well, not just to be thrown out, no. But he said in the minor leagues, there have been times. He talked about one game when he was managing in the minor leagues. He had 11 years of minor league managing experience. I think his club was down 18-2 late in the game, and he wanted to get tossed, and the umpire said, no, I'm not going to throw you out of this game. If I've got to be out here, you've got to be out. Little roller to third, barehanded Headley. On a broken pink bat, it's out number 2.
Yeah, umpires don't want to stand out there alone. They're going to make those guys suffer along with them. As far as like managers going out and getting tossed just for the sake of trying something different to fire up your team, players see right through that. I mean, when it looks contrived and it's not to a guy's personality and it doesn't match up, you know, the best thing he can do is just be himself. And if he does get mad and gets tossed, that's fine. But just don't go out there and be somebody other than you're not. Players see right through that. They don't like that.
Headley disregarded the bat. Took care of Keppinger's grounder. Now Berkman with an opposite field double in the first. Comes around for the second time. And pulls this line drive, and it's not caught by Stairs, but he recovers and gets the out at first. After 3, no score.
how you won that honor.
I won the honor by entering the contest for the Honorary Batgirl contest, and my story was selected by Major League Baseball, Susan G. Komen, and the Houston Astros, so I was really excited to win.
And your story is a tragic one, yet an inspiring one. You lost your mother and your aunt to breast cancer, but you are a breast cancer survivor, correct?
I did survive, and that's what we're here for, is breast cancer awareness, and Susan G. Komen, how much research they do. On October 2nd, we're having our walk, so we're really looking forward to that.
Well, Lo threw out the first pitch for today's game and did a great job through a strike. And for that, she is the progressive fan of the game. Lo, thanks for your time. Enjoy the game.
Thank you.
Brownie, back to you.
Very good. That's strikeout number 6 for Roy. And Venable has gone that way twice in this ball game.
Good curveball again by Roy Oswald on the inner half of the plate, getting Will Venable. The Major League Baseball had Batgirls for all 30 teams this year. They had a league-wide contest, and I heard Mitch Williams, former relief pitcher with the Phillies and Rangers and those teams, talk specifically about the one here in Houston, and it broke him up. He was almost starting to cry when he was talking about that, and her inspiration and her family and what breast cancer awareness has done in her life, and that's her purpose.
Special day for her. Nice essay. Hadley takes, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Over 4 million votes were cast in support of that Honorary Batgirl contest program. Nearly 1,000 entries were submitted from fans across the league. So those who were winners all being saluted on the field. And the clubs that are on the road today will honor their winner on the field during another game in May. Swing and a miss there by Headley, and the count goes to 2-2.
There's that good changeup, followed a hard fastball inside, sped his bat up right there. Chase Headley hasn't seen that pitch from Roy very much, if any.
That pink ribbon is being displayed all throughout the ballpark on the lineup cards. Those pink ribbons are appearing today. 3-2.
You know, Brownie, I was talking to a couple of the hitters on the Padres today, and they were commenting on how quickly that Roy works, and he kind of does that little arm pump to just kind of let them know, as soon as I do that, get ready. So, I mean, that's almost like they realize they got to hurry up as soon as he pumps those arms.
Rolled out to second. Temperature to Berkman again. Let's see how it's going for the Wizards.
Well, it's a lot of strikeouts by Roy Oswald. Curveball inside, which you don't see very much. Curveball outside, which you do. Curveball down the middle. Fastball away to Headley. Curveball inside again. Roy using slider, curve, changeup. 93, 94 mile an hour fastball that he's locating. It's going to be tough to beat today.
6 strikeouts so far. There is strike 1 to Scott Hairston.
Good cut fastball. He's throwing a couple different sliders right now. It appears that he's keeping the one on the same plane a lot to the lefties, which keeps the ball a little bit up where it doesn't hit into their happy zone.
No balls, 2 strikes. Roy struck out 8 in his last start. That was a tough 1-0 loss Tuesday to Arizona. 6 strikeouts already.
Yeah, and I remember his post-game interview. He didn't seem too happy about that. And he loves to pitch well, but he doesn't like to lose.
Rolled up the line. It stays fair, and Quintero gets it to Berkman.
Good decision right there.
12 straight outs for Roy after the leadoff single by Gwynn. No score.
On the press level, manning the Twitter and email computer. And tonight might be a good night for you to think about maybe mothers and baseball. You got any good stories, maybe something that ties the two between each other, baseball and your mom? Jot it down. Maybe we'll have a chance to mention it throughout the game. It's a special day. After all, it is Mother's Day. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Greg. There's Carlos Lee looking, and it's ball 1 to Carlos. Bottom of the 4th inning of a scoreless game. He grounded out into a forced play, or fielder's choice play earlier. Foul back, and it's a 1-1 strike count. The Astros have had 4 hits off Stauffer, who's at 42 pitches.
Doing a good job throwing a lot of two-seam fastballs and getting ground balls whenever he does get traffic.
Bouncer up the middle, sneaks on through into center field for a Lee single. And the Astros get the leadoff man on for the 3rd time in the first 4 innings.
When you talk about Berkman, Carlos Lee, and Hunter Pence struggling a little bit, all 3 of these guys have hits already early in this ball game. Good sign for the middle of the order. Carlos does a good job what he always does in RBI situations, and that's go up the middle.
Carlos ready to run. Hunter Pence would love to send him around. He singled to right center field in the 2nd inning. Bouncer up the middle. Hairston steps on the bag, throws to first for a double play. It's a whale of a job so far by Stauffer to give his club a real break, with Kevin Correa being unavailable today. Let's see what trivia has for us today. AT&T will bring you this question. Previous to Adrian Gonzalez, who was the last Padre position player to make the All-Star game?
Well, Caminiti.
Okay. It's going way back. Pedro Feliz hit a fly ball to right. A diving Will Venable caught it. There's ball 1. Mark Loretta would be another guess. From Boots.
Mark Loretta's working in the front office, or in the farm system with the Padres now.
Yes, he is. That's a quick 4th inning thanks to the double play for Stauffer. Really stepping up. No score. Wireless. And by Chevy. 0-0 through 4. Roy Oswald has set down 12 in a row. Here's Matt Stairs leading it off in the 5th inning. He struck out earlier. Right at the knees, strike 1 for Roy. Roy has 6 starts, all in the quality start category. Last time an Astros starter opened the season with more quality starts in a row. Roger Clemens started 2005 with 9 consecutive quality starts.
It's pretty heady company.
You know it. The
book on Matt Stairs, we used to always say, is you could climb the ladder.
There's a chopper. Feliz with a tough time here. Throws on the run, and he's on to an infielder.
Good effort right there by Feliz. Nothing you could do about that. Just chopped it in the ground, and new body of Matt Stairs scampered down the line. Last year he didn't have a chance.
Might find his way to a few more infield hits. Trimmed down physique.
Who knows how long Babe Ruth could have played if he'd have done that.
Stairs aboard with hit number 2 of the day for the Padres. Hundley's next, and he takes ball 1. He struck out in the second inning.
Roy's been working Hundley away a lot last at bat. See if he comes inside at any point this year. If he can get him looking away again, be a nice time to jam and get a double play.
It's 2-0. Padres have worked their way to the best winning percentage in the league at .633. They've won 8 of their last 11. They've taken 6 of their last 7 series for Bud Black. They are 20-16 at Minute Maid Park.
Padres guys love Bud Black. I mean, he's a good communicator. He talks to them about their families and looks them in the eye, and they appreciate that.
You can just see some of that coming out when he took Matt Latos out of the game after the 8 shutout innings Friday night. Bud had a smile on his face. Easily defensible, though. And Latos, you know, with a 22-year-old arm, I'd love to have a complete game shutout, but the manager wanted to protect that arm. And that's a 4-pitch walk to Hundley. Back to the AT&T trivia question about the last Padre position player to become an All-Star before Adrian Gonzalez.
Drum roll, please.
It was
Loading
Mark
it
Loretta,
still.
2004.
Don't act surprised. I saw you Google it again. You're acting all surprised up here.
2 men on, nobody out for Jerry Hairston Jr.
Does JD have a computer next to him, too?
He does.
Yeah.
He doesn't need it, though.
Okay.
Ball 1 now to Hairston. It's Zawatsky on deck. The 7, 8, 9 hitters following Stairs and Hundley, and Oswalt would hope to escape and keep this game scoreless.
First time Roy's been in the stretch since the first inning.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes pitchers who are reeling off 12 outs in a row, like Roy was, could just get into such a great rhythm. He's thrown 60 pitches. 38 strikes.
Good time out there by Quintero just to kind of break it up a little bit. Sometimes guys get in a rut with their fastball, they keep falling behind. Some guys like to throw a breaking ball. But more than anything, you just need to go out there and talk to a guy sometimes, let him catch his breath, and just break up the monotony of throwing a lot of balls.
The pink bats can be purchased at clubhouse and team stores. $10 from the sale of each going to Susan G. Coleman for the cure. Bouncer Keppinger will take the out at first. He had little choice, and that's out number 1. Stairs to third, Hundley to second. Hairston with a broken bat effort, and Keppinger could have tried that spin move, but a throw to second could have been pretty risky on that.
Yeah, and that's a great decision right there. Good range he showed right there, but I guarantee the shortstop right there is yelling at him first, because with his back to that play, he can't make that decision on his own.
That leaves Zawatsky, the batter, with second and third occupied and 1 out, and the pitcher on deck, Stauffer. Zawatsky grounded out earlier. In the air, and Feliz gets underneath. Big out right there for out number 2.
That was huge. If he'd fallen behind Zawatsky right there with a couple off-speed pitches, he would have probably intentionally walked him and taken his chances with Stauffer. But young hitter right there, offered at a off-speed pitch and got the infield fly. Now there's 2 outs with runners on second and third. That was a big out.
Stauffer has 3 career runs batted in. Struck out looking in the third. He looks at ball 1. Well, the Padre folks have to be just ecstatic at what Stauffer has provided as their starter today on short notice. Kevin Correa unable to start this game with with the family emergency. So Stauffer's giving them bonus time now.
With the off day tomorrow, the bullpen really didn't need a huge lift, but this is definitely icing on the cake at this point right now, especially being knotted at 0-0 against Oswald.
Their starting pitchers are 14-9 with a 2.83 earned run average for San Diego.
Wow.
2-1.
There's that Gexa Fox track right there.
Marquez is upset at Q now. And here comes Brad Mills, and this Marquez situation is getting out of control for the Astros.
He's getting a little demonstrative right there. Q just put his hand on his shoulder just to say, hey, I'm just trying to help my pitcher right here. And now Brad Mills is out there just trying to save his catcher from getting tossed out of this game. But typically you don't want to even touch an umpire. So things could have gotten escalated there. Humberto probably just needs to walk away a little bit. That was a close pitch. He probably said something like, where was that? Or you called that pitch on our guys. This Duke was called both ways, and Marquez took exception.
Well, Brad, a very calm sort, and we were talking about this very thing before the game today as he met with the media. He does that every day, and he feels that having been the bench coach with Boston for years, he's had a good relationship with the umpires.
Slider outside, maybe a little bit low, maybe even a little bit outside. Sometimes a guy like Oswald gets those pitches.
Now the next pitch is strike two, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That was a good hard fastball. Make it 2-2 count.
Line drive left field. That's a fair ball into the corner, and 2 runs will score. Stauffer heads for second base, and he takes a big turn there, and we'll get back to second. 2-run double for Stauffer. What a big hit for the Padres.
2-2 curveball out over the plate a little bit. Roy probably wanted that pitch a little bit further down. Gave Stauffer an opportunity to hook that ball into the left field corner. Check out the location a little bit. Trying to get it away and lift it out over the middle of the plate. Roy would love to have that pitch back.
And maybe the argument at home plate cost him a little concentration there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Gwynn, the batter. Rattled around in the corner. Gwynn's 1 for 2. Looking at ball 1.
Certainly counting on Gwynn to give him a pretty good boost, especially in the running game this season. Hasn't hit too well yet, but they still expect him to hit a little bit better than this. I think his dad played.
Is that what you heard?
I don't know his name, but I heard he played.
Well, in fact, it was on Tony Gwynn Hall of Fame induction day in '07 that Stauffer pitched here against the Astros. In that wild 18-11 ball game, which San Diego won. And it's 3 balls, no strikes.
It's got to be tough for a guy to live up to expectations of a Hall of Fame dad, doesn't it?
Very difficult.
I feel sorry for my son.
3-1. Up the middle, diving Keppinger, can't keep it on the infield. Stauffer's around to score, and it's 3-0 on the RBI single by Gwynn. Well, Tony would be proud of this game himself. Tony Jr. 2 for 3 with an RBI. It's a 7th run batted in.
Fastball, 3-1 fastball. Gwynn does a good job not trying to do too much with that pitch, just out of the outstretched arms of Jeff Keppinger. He knows what he needs to do in that situation like that is just keep it in the infield, and he can keep Stauffer from scoring, but just couldn't quite get there.
Stauffer back in the dugout. Now the throw goes over on Gwynn. Gwynn stole second in the first inning. Venable has whiffed both times, swinging and called. First and fourth innings. Slices that one foul and out of play for strike 1.
Surprised Venable swung right there. Usually a hitter will try to give the pitcher a little bit of a rest after he's run the bases.
Especially a guy in Stauffer's situation, hasn't been stretched out this year. He had pitched 18 out of third innings this season coming into this game.
I'm sure Gwen will try to go with 2 outs here. He wanted to.
Yeah, he was kind of leaning, but then he didn't go. 0-2.
He was trying to time him. He did a little stutter step. Wouldn't be surprised to see if Brad Mills called a throw over here.
Snap throw. There's the other way to do it. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You can count on Q to do that 1.4 times a game. Had a great pickoff his last game of Chris Young at third base against the Diamondbacks. That was the play of the year so far.
Yes, it was. Broken bat. Roy got out of the way and fielded it for the 3rd out. And the Padres come up with 3 runs. On 3 hits, they leave a man. In the middle of the 5th, they lead it 3-0.
And then the fireworks spectacular after the game, weather permitting. Go to Astros.com to get your tickets. Bill, back to you.
Thanks, Bart. It's 3-0 Padres. Bottom of the 5th inning. Stauffer working to Tommy Manzella, showing bunt. Tommy takes ball 1. He bounced into a force play in the 2nd inning. Stauffer's longest outing this year, 3 innings. He's done that twice. And a couple of extra inning games.
He's only thrown 48 pitches so far this game, so they've got to be thrilled with how far he's gotten them.
In fact, he threw 48 in his last outing. Now here's Brad Mills again and Alfonso Marquez.
Mills is going to get tossed.
Yeah, he is definitely headed for an ejection the way this game is going with Marquez.
Marquez told him to get back in the dugout. He's not going to last very long.
Really ironic, we were having this very discussion before the game today about getting tossed. He said, no, I don't see the point of just getting thrown out. He said, sometimes there is, but at this point with this team, I don't see that. And he feels he's been getting very good effort from his players, so he wouldn't do that to fire them up. He thinks they've concentrated, they've worked hard. They're just not getting results with the bats right now.
What I think happened here is I think Manziel probably said, you know, is that on the outside corner? And Marquez probably said something to the effect of just get back in the batter's box and hit. I'll do the calling from here. So Nate's just trying to stick up for his players, and that's all you can ask as a player, is a guy that's behind you in every step of the way.
I would think that if Marquez had a real issue, he would have tossed him by now. He might have realized that he was flirting with the line a little bit there himself.
It looked like he was leaving, but I didn't see him get tossed.
I didn't either, but he must have tossed him quickly, and we must have missed him. Ball, 2 strikes. He's been thrown out, but we just didn't see that happen.
I never saw him give him the sign, but he looked like he was going somewhere with that. Maybe he was going back there to check out a video review of what happened.
Maybe. That's a strikeout of Manziel. Stauffer gets number 1. Now we'll see it.
Well, okay. Yeah. They did. Typically, if you argue balls and strikes, that's usually rule number 1 with a lot of these umpires, especially from your vantage point.
First ejection for Brad Mills. That's the Astros skipper. Now Quintero. He singled to right field earlier, taking strike 1 here.
Tim Stauffer's just doing a great job at throwing 2-seam fastballs, which you don't see a lot of guys do, that throw 2-seam fastballs to the outside corner to right-handers, and not a lot you can do with that pitch, even if you swing.
1-1 to Quintero. He was a Padre in 03 and 04. Traded to Houston in 05 for Tim Redding.
Who's Redding this year?
Oh, he's Washington.
Is he back there again?
Single through the left side. He's either hurt or maybe in AAA. Quintero 2 for 2 out of the 8th slot in the order. Now Oswald comes up. Roy grounded out with 2 men on in the 2nd inning.
Seems like the Padres bullpen starting to heat up a little bit. That might be Mujica.
Okay.
He's supposed to be the next guy in.
It is. Edward Mujica. Al Pedrique, the bench coach, takes over. Roy around to bunt, looking at ball 1.
Al last managed the Diamondbacks, 2004.
54 pitches now for Tim Stauffer. Well, that's his longest outing of the year by pitches. And obviously the goal would be to get him through 5 to qualify for the win. The bunt. Fielded by Hundley. Sacrifice for Oswald, his 2nd of the year. Quintero to second base.
Well, he's done a nice job bunting this year. I think he's gotten every single one down this entire season.
Now it's Michael Bourne. Michael singled up the middle in the 1st inning, grounded out in the 3rd.
Slow down a little bit this homestand.
Yeah, he was really hitting well when this homestand started.
Yeah. His on-base percentage is still near 380, which is awesome for a leadoff hitter. So every single night, I mean, this is definitely the Astros MVP thus far.
He looks at a strike, and it's 1-1. Michael on this homestand is 5 for 24 now. His average is the lowest it's been after a game since after game 5 of the season.
Wow. How many times are you going to see pitches split that outside line on that box track? That was just off the corner, slider outside. And Hundley does a nice job of drawing it back toward the plate to give Alfonso Marquez the impression that it was a strike.
At this point, Michael Bourne, who had a little smile there, might be wondering if he's going to get a call.
No, he can't say anything.
No.
After what happened last night and what happened earlier in this inning with Mills.
Still 1-2. Picks up on the seats. Cincinnati leads Chicago 5-3 in the bottom of the 8th at Cincinnati. Joey Votto hit his 7th home run. Tyler Coleman connected for number 4 for the Cubs.
Starlin Castro, that shortstop for the Cubs that got called up 2 nights ago, has 6 RBIs in his debut, set a major league record.
How about that? 2-2, and Ryan Theriot has moved to second base.
Yeah, Castro was born in 1990. I don't know how many guys are in the league. You got that shirt in 1990, didn't you?
Yeah, I think so. Bounce to the left side. Hairston comes up with it and throws to first. No runs a hit, a man stranded through 5, 3-0 Padres. Good action there on Venable. The Coors Light Freeze Camp brought to you by the Frost Brewed Coors Light. Now Oswalt back out on the mound, trailing 3-0. Gets a fly ball to center field. Michael Bourne waiting for this Chase Headley fly. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 6th.
I bet some of those hitters wish that they would freeze those pitches in the strike zone like that. Tim Stauffer did a great job. Bud Black came over and congratulated him. It looks like he's done for the day and probably go to San Francisco for that last leg of their road trip and have a paid vacation.
Big smile on his face, and Stauffer, who's 2-1 already in his first 9 games as a reliever, on track for win number 3. Oswalt on the other side of this one faces Scott Hairston now. Roy's at 77 pitches for the day. Hairston is struck out and tapped out in front of the plate. Good life on the heater for strike 1.
Staying away from Hairston throughout the night, or throughout the day rather. He's got a little squib back to Roy and a strikeout, slider away. Staying away again.
It's 0-2 to Hairston with Stairs on deck. Giants lead at New York 4-0 over the Mets in the bottom of the 6th inning with Tim Lincecum on the hill. Oliver Perez started, lasted 3 1/3 for New York. One and 2. Giants currently a game and a half behind the Padres, and they're squaring off in the next series. That should be of interest. In the NL West, Colorado is at 500, 4 games out.
Padres should go into that series pretty confident.
Manzella to his right. Couldn't get rid of it. And it's an infield hit for Scott Hairston.
Couldn't get it out of his glove, or couldn't get a good handle on that ball. A lot of times shortstops are surprised about the speed of some hitters when they look up and they do a little double pump right there. And not a lot of time in the major league sometimes.
Now Matt Stairs, he got an infield hit, came around to score in the 5th, and triggered the 3-run inning. There's strike one. It was a pretty insightful interview Tommy did with Greg Lucas on Astros Live pregame show before the game today. And he talked quite a bit about positioning at shortstop, and that's one of his goals, to improve where he positions himself. Feels that once he learns the hitters much better, he will be more helpful to the Astros pitchers.
Yeah, feels a little bit out of sorts because of his lack of experience and lack of knowledge of even his own pitchers. And I thought that was pretty astute of a young guy.
One ball, one strike for Oswalt, who has the 10-2 career record against San Diego. Keppinger, Berkman, and Lee due up in the bottom of the 6th. 1-2 to Stairs.
Started out Stairs with a changeup right here. Stairs probably hasn't seen that offering from Oswalt in the past. And you stick something in the back of a hitter's mind that it's hard to get out. Sometimes you can just start throwing a lot of fastballs.
Stairs fouls it. Stairs has started twice previously to today, both times in left field. Adrian Gonzalez has played every game until now. Stairs won the Mexican League batting title way back in '92. He went to winter ball in Mexico to learn how to hit the off-speed stuff.
And I was there that year.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
What do you remember about that experience?
He honed his skills on me.
Well, why did he go all the way to Mexico to face you?
I don't know. You know, he played for, I think it was Culiacan. But he was, no, Navajoa. He was part owner of the team, actually. Fernando Valenzuela was on his team. And what I remember in that league is there were a lot of off-speed pitchers, and guys like him with that softball uppercut had a lot of success.
They don't throw fastballs like that in the Mexican Winter League usually. That's strikeout number 7 for Roy.
Hard to catch up to that fastball, especially uppercut. You know, if you elevate that pitch just a little bit, it's impossible to stay on top.
Good point. 7 Ks for the Wizard. And now it's Hundley. Hundley walked and scored in the 5th after striking out. Fouls it back. Well, if I'm an owner of a Mexican League team, I want Fernando Valenzuela on the team. He's a pretty good draw there.
Yeah, he wasn't a full-time guy, but I think he threw in 3 or 4 games at that point. He was maybe a year or 2 out of retirement. But he was a special guy. He was a great hitter, too.
Runner goes. Hit in the air by Hundley, and it's Berkman and Pence giving chase down the right field line. Pence comes over. The ball just foul as he catches it for the 3rd out. No runs a hit, a man stranded. 3-0 Padres in the 6th. Sports Houston is brought to you by Clear Wireless and by Chevy. It's sizzling down there. The Astros would like their offense to sizzle. They trail 3-0. San Diego starting pitchers in this 3-game series have combined for 20 scoreless innings. Now it's time to go to the bullpen with Edward Mujica for Bud Black, 1-0 at 3.07 ERA.
Yeah, and he's particularly stingy against left-handed hitters, only hitting 182 against them, primarily because of a great split finger pitch. Those fastball, curveball, slider, and that split finger.
His first pitch is ball 1 to Jeff Keppinger, who's grounded out twice to third base. Tim Stauffer in 5 innings allowed 6 hits, no runs. Did not walk anybody. Struck out 1. He's qualified for win number 3 of the year. And Keppinger takes ball 2.
Padres bullpen really hasn't seen a lot of work. Last night they got 2 innings. The first night with Matt Latos doing the starting, only had to cover 1 inning. So these guys are well rested with an off day tomorrow.
Strike to Keppinger makes it 2-1. Now, Latos was very powerful with that fastball slider combo. 8 innings of 2-hit shutout ball with no walks, 9 strikeouts Friday night.
And 2 doubles.
Yeah. Picked on the backhand side. And Hairston makes a good play to get Keppinger.
It's kind of one of those ones in the dugout. They're just saying you're hitting them hard, you know, and the guys are making great plays. Just kind of Christmas hops sometimes. And I think like every once in a while you think, whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Sometimes you got to get those thoughts out of your mind. You just got to keep on trusting your approach and believe that good things are about to happen, because a lot of guys are taking some much better swings.
Lance Berkman had one of those swings with the opposite field double in the first inning. Then he grounded out in the third. He gets a breaker for ball 1 with Luke Gregerson warming up for the Padres. Last night, John Garland in 7 innings allowed 2 hits, no runs. Padres starters have really been fine in this series. Mujica will be turning 26 tomorrow. He began with the Cleveland Indians organization, signing with them in 2001 as a free agent. Traded to the Padres last April. 3-0. He's from Valencia, Venezuela. Last year, Bud Black used him 67 times, 4 as a starter. He was 3-5 with a 3.94 ERA.
At the end of last spring training, they weren't too happy with what they had in the bullpen, and Kevin Towers went on a dumpster dig, if you will, and just found a lot of relief pitchers, guys that nobody really had a lot of faith in, one of which was Heath Bell, their closer, and this guy, and Luke Gregerson, and you know, guys had to introduce themselves on opening day and end up having the 3rd best relief corps in the National League. And this year they picked it up right where they left off. And probably if you talk to anybody on this San Diego team, their bullpen's the biggest strength of this team.
A bullpen with a 5-2 record at 2.76 ERA. Berkman grounds. Matt Stairs, 2 outs.
Stairs looking pretty good down there at first base.
Yeah.
First time this season. Spelling Adrian Gonzalez, doing a good job staying in front of some hard smashes down there. Lance has hit 2 hard ones, showing that he's taken on his own.
Carlos Lee singled to center field in the 4th. He's 1 for 2. Mujica gave up 2 runs on Wednesday against Colorado in 2/3 of an inning.
As a hitting coach, you go through the middle relief guys of an opponent's team. You usually don't talk about those in your usual meetings at the beginning of a series, but these are the guys that they'll talk to them right before they get on the on-deck circle and say, all right, Mujica, he's got a fastball, slider, likes to start out guys with slider, and throws a splitty if he gets ahead in the count. And then it's just go hang with them.
2-0.
And I think more than anything, a lot of the relievers, all they're looking for, or a lot of hitters are just looking for an arm slot. Where does he throw the ball out of? Does he throw it right here, or does he throw it right here?
High to left field. They're not moving much in the outfield, and Carlos Lee will do the moving as he trots around the bases on home run number 2. Padres 3, Astros 1 as Lee drives in his 10th of the year.
Big swing right there. Carlos Lee getting a pitch out over the middle of the plate, much like he did 3 nights ago with his game-winning home run. Got in the wheelhouse again.
For Coors Light Cold Hard Blast, let's see the swing at the 2-0 pitch.
He got every bit of that right in the sweet part of the bat. Outer third of the plate. Kind of dove across the plate a little bit to go out there and hook it. But when you dive across the plate, the main thing you do is you keep your left shoulder closed.
Second home run of the homestand for El Caballo. He had the game winner in the night. Beat Arizona Wednesday night 4-2. Hunter Pence singled and bounced into a double play. He'll try to follow up on Lee's home run. That's the 4th long ball surrendered by Mujica this year.
Certainly get the sense that the middle of the order is coming around.
Gwynn back into center, and Hunter Pence on the loads. He is getting around the bases very quickly, and now he can slow down as the Astros for the first time have back-to-back homers this year.
He didn't want to take it for granted. If Hunter hadn't gotten that call right there, he may have had it inside the park, or he was around second base by the time he realized that the ball was out of the ballpark. And he just unloaded on this pitch. Fastball out over the plate again. And you get the sense Carlos and Hunter and Lance, all 3 of those guys are starting to break out of it because they've been taking some great swings. That went a long way over the 410 part of the outfield wall out there.
Hunter went mass transit. Now here is Bud Black coming out. That's the first time the Astros have hit back-to-back homers since last September 16th at Cincinnati. Jeff Plum and Jeff Keppinger. And now Lee and Pence do it with Feliz coming up next, and that'll be all asked of Mujica. There's the powerful swing. Astros history is brought to you by the MD Anderson Cancer Center, making cancer history. On May 9, 1983, Phil Garner scores the winning run, while ex-Astro Danny Heap argues the call of first base ump Terry Tata in a 6-4 victory over the New York Mets. Tata had ruled that Jose Cruz beat Heap to the bag on a roller to first. Nobody called for time, and Garner alertly sped home. 3-2 Padres. There's Kyle Blanks now in the game at first base, batting ninth in a double switch. Matt Stairs leaving the game. And the new pitcher is Luke Gregerson, facing Pedro Feliz, who's 0 for 2.
Gregerson starts him off with the slider right there. Gregerson comes in the game with the 109 opposing batting average, 3rd lowest in the National League. Got a fastball around 90 miles an hour. Best pitch is a slider.
1-1 to Feliz. Batting average, as you mentioned, against Gregerson, a low 109, 6 hits and 55 at bats against Gregerson. He has a 14-inning scoreless streak alive right now. Feliz chases that one. 1-2.
This would be a nice time for Pedro to get that 1,000th hit in his career.
Oh, wouldn't it?
Make it mean something. Throw it out in the Crawford box right here.
Game-tying home run would be especially nice for number 1,000.
May not get that ball back, though.
1,000, and it stays 1-2 with Manzella on deck.
Maybe we could get Bart Ennis to Barker out there to get that ball back.
We'll do it. Gregerson set a Padres record by retiring 26 consecutive batters. That was a record for a Padre reliever. Upstairs, and it's 2-2.
When you look at this slider, and you see his numbers, and they don't seem to equate too much, but what it does is it moves really late. It moves really small, but really late. And just to get off the barrel just enough to get the hitters out, and that's sometimes all it takes.
He struck out 93 in 75 innings last year. Coming up and in on Feliz consistently.
I think that's where you want to go to Pedro Feliz, up and in.
No.
That's his happy spot. He throws another one right there. We may see back to back to back. Get this Mother's Day crowd into it.
Oh, yeah.
Starting to perk up a little bit.
Gregerson was drafted by the Cardinals in 06, traded to San Diego in 09 for Khalil Green. Fly ball softly hit to left. And there's the grab by Scott Hairston. Carlos Lee, it's number 2 of the homestand, followed a couple pitches later by Hunter Pence's third of the season. It's now a 1-run San Diego lead, 3-2.
Here in the press box, 3-2 Padres as we move to the 7th. Suddenly, things a lot more interesting after back-to-back home runs.
Yeah, it's amazing how that does that. The one win this homestand came on 2 two-run homers for all 4 runs. Today, a couple of homers puts the club back in it.
And there's a nice running catch by Michael Bourne. We're going to have post-game reaction. We'll preview the upcoming road trip. We'll hear from Bill Brown and Steve Sparks. All of it coming up on Astros Live following the game. Brownie, back to you.
Thank you, Bart. Outstanding catch by Michael Bourne, running back into right center to Ralph Jerry Hairston Jr. That's out number 1 here in the 7th inning for Roy Oswald. It could very well be his last frame. Due to about third in the bottom half. Here's the play by Bourne.
Just a 50-yard sprint from Michael Bourne, getting his legs loose. Does this almost every single night. It's amazing when you come out here and see how much distance he covers.
So Wadsky takes, and there's strike 1 to him. Roy has thrown 92 pitches.
He's begging to stay in this game now. He's got a chance.
Kyle Blanks on deck in the 9th spot. It's 1-1. Astros coming to life with those back-to-back homers. Now they trail by 1. Crack bat. Manzella.
Very nice. Sometimes those off the end of the bat line drives can fool a guy, but Manzella did a nice job of timing this. Roy throws a change-up to Zawadski right there, gets him ahead of it, hits it off the end of the bat. Looks like it's going to carry him into center field, but Manzella does a good job of tracking it with his eyes. Good leaping ability. 2 outs.
Roy with the body language there following. Blanks is 0 for 7 with an RBI in this series. Takes ball 1 to Kyle. Blanks has a 186 average, 3 homers, 14 driven in. He's had 86 at bats. It's a 1-ball-1-strike count to Kyle Blanks, 23-year-old from Pennsylvania.
Blanks probably not as aggressive as Bud Black would like him to be. He takes a lot of pitches in the strike zone.
1-2. He hit .250 last season in 148 at bats. Clears that one foul. Still a 1-ball-2-strike count.
Blanks finds himself with 2 strikes quite often. He struck out almost half the time he's been up to the plate this year. They expect this guy to be a 30 home run guy at Big Petco Park eventually.
2-2.
£270, Kyle Blanks. There's number 88. Looks like a tight end.
Cincinnati beat the Cubs 5-3. Mike Leake going to 3-0, beating Ryan Dempster. He's 2-3. Save number 10 for Francisco Cordero. It's 3-2.
Couple good plays to miss with those curveballs. Probably what he was intending to do to Tim Stauffer before he made that curveball to the left up a little bit. And Stauffer hit for a double down the left field line. Trying to bury that. He's done a nice job with Blanks on those 2 pitches.
Fastball blew him away. Strikeout number 8 for the Wizard. That's probably it for him. With the score, Padres 3, Astros 2. Stay right here for the singing. To you by your Texas Ford dealers, showing you news and notes from around the major leagues. The Brewers got a cycle from Jody Garrett. They whacked the Diamondbacks 17-3. Mark Teixeira hit 3 homers against the Red Sox. The Mets won their 9th straight at home. And there's ball 1 to Tommy Manzella. 3-2 Padres as Gregerson works to his second batter. Jeff Fulcino working in the Astros bullpen. Pitcher Roy Oswalt due up 3rd in the inning. Manzella's 0 for 2.
More cycles or more no-hitters, Browning?
Boy.
In Major League history.
I think more no-hitters than cycles.
You know, it's really close. I remember about 3 or 4 years ago, they were within about 5. I think you're right.
Fulcino warming up. Manzella flicks it foul. It's 1-2. Quintero will be next. He's 2 for 2 in this game. Gregerson very effective as a setup man for closer Heath Bell. Bell got his 8th save of the year last night in the Padres 2-1 win.
Just keeps coming right at guys with that slider.
Into center field. Gwynn coming in.
Any trouble? Nope.
Recovered it, 1 out.
We got a nice jump on that ball. He's off the end of the bat of Manzella. Sometimes those are the ones that trick the outfielders, especially when they're directly at those guys, but he got a great jump.
Now it's Quintero, who's single to right and to left. 23,526 that paid attendance on Mother's Day. St. Louis 11, Pittsburgh 2 after 6 in Pittsburgh. Adam Wainwright has the big lead. Strike to Quintero.
He's not using the pink bat.
No, he's not.
He's got 2 hits, though. He's got the wristbands.
All the way, and it's 0-2. Watch it.
It's amazing that people don't get hurt more than they do, isn't it?
It sure is. Ball's on him in a flash.
Nobody's in the on-deck circle yet. Brad Arnsberg is calling down to the bullpen.
Now Roy's coming out.
A little decoy, I think.
Yeah, Fulcino is warming up. As long as somebody's in that on-deck circle, doesn't have to be the guy who's actually going to hit next. And a strikeout for Gregerson takes care of out number 2. Now Roy, with nobody on base, is going to bat.
100 pitches, I believe. 2 outs, might as well keep him in the ballgame. He's pitching great. Gregerson throws another slider right on the outside corner, and that thing is late. It looks like a dart moving away from these guys.
And the bullpen last night with Lyon and Lindstrom working. Put in 5 innings on Friday night and 5 1/3 innings on Thursday night. So it's Oswalt who grounded out and put down that sac bunt. Roy taking ball 1. Roy will be facing the top of the Padre order in the 8th. Gwynn, Venable, and Headley. Kansas City got 2 in the top of the 2nd at Texas for a 2-0 lead. Luke Hochaver.
The organist in the house tonight, Bill.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
It's Jim Connors at the organ. And that's going to be the case on Sundays from now on. It went over so well. And the Astros tried it during that turn back the clock weekend, honoring the 65 team. Sundays, they'll have the organist there.
That's a lot of fun. That's what I remember growing up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and going to AAA games is the charge. You know, things with the organ, and my parents teaching me what was supposed to be coming up next. And all of those guys are clever with some names as well.
Strikeout for Gregerson. He mows down 4 in a row, sending this game to the 8th with the score: Padres 3, Astros 2. In his first start of the season, an emergency start for Kevin Correa, who had to leave the club for a family emergency. The Astros have come back with back-to-back homers in the 6th inning off Edward Mujica, and it's a 3-2 lead for the Padres as they bat in the 8th inning with Gwynn leading it off. Taking strike one from Oswalt. Gwynn is 2 for 3 with an RBI.
Obviously, Roy staying in the game going into the 8th inning. He's been pitching great this year. Just haven't had a whole lot to show for it.
Tap back to the pitcher. There's one out.
He'd give anything to get back that curveball that he threw to Stauffer.
Yeah, that's looming very large in this game right now. 2 on, 2 outs, a 2-2 count, a 3-2 count, and he had a 2-run double on that.
It wasn't so much pitch selection, it was just location on that pitch. He tried to bury it and just, it almost looked like it slipped out of his hand a little bit and left it up in the zone.
Venable is 0 for 3, takes a strike over the outside edge.
Man, he's really throwing well, though.
Well, Roy is going to make this if he doesn't give up any more runs. 7 straight quality starts out of the chute in 2010.
It's been a lot of quality starts against the Astros as well. I think it's 15 out of 21 coming into tonight.
Yeah, 15 at Minute Maid Park. Quality starts by Astros opponents. And in this homestand, 5 in 6 games before today. This wouldn't be a quality start because Stauffer didn't go 6 innings, but 5 shutout, pretty good from an emergency starter.
It really is. Ooh, Fox Tracks liked it. Marquez didn't like it. Roy does a good job of not showing up the umpires. Keeps them in his favor, but like a good pitch.
And the fastball struck out Venable. Strikeout number 9.
Nice pitch right there, too. Roy trying to come inside right there with the fastball. A lot of lateral movement back over the middle of the plate, but Venable didn't have a chance to catch up to it because of the movement.
That's Roy's strikeout high for this season. That's the longest outing by an Astros starter this year. Headley is 0 for 3, looking at ball 1. 109 pitches so far for Roy.
Between he and Paulino, that's 20 punch outs the last 2 days.
It's 1-1. Scott Hairston on deck. Roy just passed the 1,500 strikeout mark 2 starts ago. 2 balls and a strike. He's been tough to beat in this ballpark in his career. 76 and 29 lifetime with a 2.81 ERA. Line to left field. Carlos Lee goes back to try to hold him to a single. He picks up the ball cleanly, gets it into Manzella, and it is a 2-out single by Headley.
Nice piece of hitting right there. 2-1 count. Probably looking fastball. Roy threw him a changeup, though. Did a nice job of just keeping his bat in the zone, keeping his hands back a little bit. When you do that, good things happen.
Scott Hairston bats. The pitcher spot is due up next.
No way he was expecting changeup. Even good location, but it's just a nice swing by Chase Headley.
Mike Adams has been warming up in the Padre bullpen. Runner takes off early, and Quintero had no chance with the jump for Headley. He's now 9 for 9 in steals this year. Boy, did he have a jump.
I really think that somebody's picked something up that Roy's doing to give away, because last year I think we said he gave up 2 stolen bases all season. Now 7 already early in this season.
Fly ball at the right field line, and Hunter Pence will come over for it, but it's out of play. Headley seemed to know something. He just got going. Padres have had very intelligent base running this year. There's 2 more steals today, giving them 37 for the year. Headley's 9 for 9. Venable's 8 for 8.
I don't know where he is, but the first base coach for these guys a few years ago was Davey Lopes, and I'm sure he passed on a lot of information to this coaching staff, but he was unbelievable at picking things up off of opposing pitchers.
He's in Philly now.
He's a great base running coach.
Outstanding base stealer himself.
Base running coach typically looks at guys that who tip something off. Like, for instance, if a pitcher starts off, comes set with his head facing toward the third base side, and the first thing that moves when he goes home is his head, then that's what they figure out what it takes to get a good jump. It's either the left foot or the right knee or their head, or they'll find something to pick, see what he moves first to get a good jump towards second base.
Maybe it's Rick Renteria.
Might be Rick Renteria. He looked a little suspect over there, didn't he?
He might have picked up something. Quintero out with a runner at second and the 0-2 count on Hairston. .115 pitches now for the Wizard. He threw 119 in his last start.
The thing about Roy this year, though, his mechanics look so good that it doesn't seem like he's laboring even when he has a high pitch count. That goes a lot in determining whether or not the guy is putting his arm at risk. It's not so much how many pitches, but what kind of position is his body in when he makes a throw.
Popped up. Keppinger out, and he's calling. And Roy Oswalt stretches it out with an 8th inning that gives him another 0. The Padres lead at 3-2. And Margaret Mills back in California was taken out to a nice brunch. Brad Mills' father today. He spoke with his mother early this morning. Now Brad has been tossed from this game. Would love to have a real treat for Mom and for himself and the entire ball club. A come from behind win. And it's going to be Mike Adams working the 8th inning.
Yeah, 6'5" Texan Mike Adams has done a great job with the Padres. Got a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Good cut fastball, slurve, changeup. He's been a great pitcher for the Padres the last 2 or 3 years.
Last night he gave up a run. He came in with a 2-0 lead in the 8th inning. Surrendered a Jeff Blum pinch hit RBI single. But he got a hold in that game. He had walked Pedro Feliz, and when he walked Feliz, that halted a streak of 18 consecutive batters retired by Mike Adams.
It's a perfect game in Little League.
Yeah. Michael Bourne leads it off. He's 1 for 3. And that one cut in on him as he showed bunt. Marquez is calling him for offering at the ball, and strike 1.
Adams walked into the clubhouse with one of those huge chocolate chip cookies. So he must have relatives in town.
Yeah.
Born in Corpus Christi.
We saw them in the stands last night on the highlights of the Padre telecast. Fouled away. No balls, 2 strikes. He went to Texas A&M Kingsville down the valley.
It's always nice to come home where get some friends and family to come and see you play. Never forget those times you can get together and just go out to eat and talk about old times. It's fun.
Padres' only trip to Houston this year. The Astros are in San Diego in early July. 1-2.
Sounds like a golf outing for you.
Oh, it could be. It could be. Anything works out there.
Yeah, it does. You know, the only thing bad about playing baseball on the West Coast as a home player is that travel, though. You come to the East Coast, you may go, you know, you're changing 3 hours, so a lot of times I used to play in Anaheim.
Blanks with a play, 1 out.
I used to play in Anaheim. We'd go to New York sometime after a Sunday night game and get in about 7 in the morning. And
yeah.
You're messed up for 3 days.
Well, when the Astros come back here from L.A. from this next road trip, they're to arrive about 5 in the morning and play that night.
Yep.
Now Jeff Keppinger, he's grounded out all 3 times in this game. That's Berkman on deck, so if Jeff can get aboard with Berkman having some pretty good swings in this game, that could be another nice late inning rally for the Astros, who got back-to-back homers in the 6th from Lee and Pence.
They go a long way going into an off day to at least pull something out of this. When it didn't look so bright early on, to pull this game out late would go a long way going into the next road trip. Middle of the order's been taking a lot better swings. Just need a base runner.
Sorry, I didn't mean to open it.
It's a 1-1 count. Adams versus Keppinger here. The Astros with 8 hits in the game. The Padres have 6. Each club has left 4 men on base. The Astros had 2 hits in the first, 2 more in the second. Couldn't push anything across until those home runs in the 6th.
Wow.
2-1, yeah.
Foxtrack might have that right in the middle of the square right there. That looked pretty good. Hundley did a double take before he threw that back to Adams. He couldn't believe that was called a ball.
Adams listed at 6'5". He was a good basketball player. 2-2.
Number 3 was the last pitch. That was a strike, and then he called the ball. And a makeup piece right there. Slider outside. He calls a strike. Keppinger can't argue because he knew he got the benefit of the call on the last one. Number 4 right there was that last one called a strike.
Three and 2.
Need a base runner. Get on for Lance and Carlos right here.
Adams has 7 holds this year. That's tied for the most in the National League. Keppinger breaks the bat. Fly ball, and it's caught by Venable. 2 down, and it's Berkman now. He doubled into the left field corner and then grounded out twice to first.
Getting word that that's the 6th bat that the Padres hitters have broken of the pink variety. So maybe there's a flaw in those pink bats today. That's a mark of a good pitcher, though. Adams 3-2 count to Keppinger. Obviously, you don't want to walk in there, but he threw that tight cutter. That's the reason why it did get to the end of the bat.
They won't have to order another supply.
They're going to auction those bats, though, aren't they?
Yeah, they're going to sell them. It was a breaking ball and strike call on the field to Bob Davidson on the swing by Berkman. The proceeds go to charity.
He's always looked like the guy went. Yeah, he went pretty far there. I don't think I've ever seen a replay, but it didn't look like a guy offered.
In the air and foul and out of play behind the Padre dugout. No balls, 2 strikes. Nationals 2, Marlins 1, bottom of the 7th inning at Washington.
Marlins cooled off a little bit.
They sure have. There's a 7th home run for them.
He didn't cool off.
Ivan Hernandez pitching a strong game again for Washington.
Every other year for him.
In tight to Berkman at 1-2 now for Adams, pitcher number 4 for the Padres. Carlos Lee on deck.
Love to see Carlos get up this inning. They're looking for a cutter inside right here. Fastball inside.
2-2.
Looks like they want to stay in. They know what Lance can do with the fastball away. Did a good job in the first inning of flicking one off the wall for a double. Going away here. Try a slider.
Hit the third. Headley's right there, positioned perfectly. And it's a 1-2-3-8 for Adams. 3-2 San Diego heading to the ninth. Season, take the Astros with you. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Astros game live or on demand on your computer. Visit Astros.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. A lot of pink in the stands today. And now we go to the ninth inning with Matt Lindstrom in this one-run ball game. David Eckstein will be pinch hitting for the pitcher Adams, with Lindstrom 1-0, 6 for 6 in saves, and 12 strikeouts in 13 innings, Steve.
Fireballing, closing acquisition for the Florida Marlins. He's done a great job this year. He just hadn't had a lot of opportunities, obviously, for saves. But the last time he was in a situation similar to this was the night that Carlos Lee had the walk-off home run. You got to win in that situation.
Eckstein, a .262 hitter with a homer, has 6 runs driven in. He's 0 for 2 pinch hitting. Heath Bell and Joe Thatcher are warming up in the bullpen with a count 1-1 on Eckstein. David's been the starting second baseman the first 2 games of this series. And he's gotten 2 hits in each of those games. That one goes foul. 1-2.
Pretty good grab down there.
Yeah.
Kept the ball in front of him, looked it in.
Jeff Bagwell took note of Lindstrom's good sinker last night when he worked a 1-2-3 ninth with a strikeout.
He's been experimenting with a couple different pitches. He's going to make this no fair for guys pretty soon.
It's 2-2.
Arnsberg taught him a different kind of slider this spring training. First time I saw him was in the World Baseball Classic last year, and he ended up getting hurt. But I saw the game that the last game he pitched in that, he was throwing 99 to 101 miles per hour. I'd never even heard of him. I couldn't believe the stuff I was seeing, though. When I heard the Astros acquired him, I thought it was a great acquisition.
3-2. He said he used to just rely on that four-seamer, the one he just threw. So now he's developed more variety this year, just trying to find what works for him, what's reliable. In the past, he said his sinker has moved a lot, and it's been difficult to harness that pitch, but this year things are going better with it.
Yeah, if he can throw a two-seamer for a strike too, it's being awfully tough to square him up.
Diving Carlos Lee. Here's Eckstein into second base, and he is in with a double, a pinch hit double for Eckstein. Carlos almost got to it. Good effort.
Really was good effort. You know, you weigh the risk in a situation like that. It's a good chance it might be a double anyway, even if it skips off of him. So it's a good opportunity to risk diving for this ball just out of his reach. Carlos spread out as much as he could right there, just got underneath his glove. Good effort. I think he bopped his nose a little bit there when he came down. Watch his face.
He did. He landed hard.
That no bueno.
Now Hundley's up, and the Astros look for a bunt from him. Hundley's 0 for 2 with a walk and has scored a run. He's squaring early as Berkman moves in tight, and he lets it go. Ball 1. Jerry Hairston Jr. is on deck. Hundley took a look down at Glenn Hoffman, the third base coach. Padres are up by 1, playing for an additional run for Heath Bell. He bunted at it and missed. 1-1, and it's tough to bunt that kind of a fastball.
Yeah, that's a little disconcerting. You don't have a lot of confidence that he's going to throw a perfect strike in there for you right there. So you're a little bit hesitant. You're on your heels.
And the hitter's thinking, I don't want to pop up this bunt, try to get on top of it, and that's not that easy to do. Gets it down, but it's foul.
He's definitely in on his heels right there. It's hard to commit, stick your nose down there on that pitch when it's coming in that hard. He even saw on a couple pitches with Eckstein that he threw the ball not exactly where he wanted to. So you don't like to commit when your life's in danger.
Only has 1 sacrifice bunt this year.
A lot of times you can watch Lindstrom put the ball in his glove and he'll give away the pitch that he's going to throw. Sometimes a 4-seam or 2-seam. I used to talk to Brett Butler, outfielder with the Dodgers. He used to act like he was looking down, but peek up and see what pitch, what grip a guy put into his glove.
Bouncer up the middle will get the runner over with Keppinger throwing to Berkman. And Hundley, even though he does not get credit for a sacrifice, accomplished the Padres' objective. Eckstein to third, 1 out.
Get a lot of high fives in the dugout for plays like that. Great piece of hitting. A lot of times situations like that are the ways you win or lose games, and over the long haul of a season, guys keep doing that, then you win a lot more than you lose. Get a lot of high fives in there right now.
Infield moves in for Jerry Hairston Jr. He's 0 for 3. And it's vital for the Astros to cut off this runner from scoring. Down by 1. Lee, Pence, and Feliz due up in the bottom of the inning. In the dirt, and it's ball 1. It's difficult for the base runner in this ballpark at third base on a pitch in the dirt. The ball can quickly carry him back to the catcher. So if he's going to get going, he really has to read that right away and get moving. Strike, and it's 1-1.
Nice pitch right there. You don't want to give in a situation, especially to a guy that can handle the bat a little bit. Brad Mills has the infield playing in. When he does that, that means that the play's at home. You know, even if it's your backhand, whatever, you're trying to cut this guy out at home.
Slap a shortstop. Runner coming home. Manziel's throw to Quintero. Eckstein is out. 2 down.
Big play right there. Good pitch by Matt Lindstrom right there. Good job of Tommy Manziel setting his feet before he even fielded that ground ball to make a perfect throw home. See how he's getting his feet in order to make a good throw right there. Humberto Quintero does a nice job blocking the plate, make sure that there is no chance that the umpire could say he wasn't touching home plate with his foot. Stein just took a header right there.
Yeah. Now Zawadzki. Zawadzki's 0 for 3. Runner takes off with a big jump. Quintero's throw to Manzella. Gunned him down. And Hairston is thrown out from 2 to 6 to send this game to the bottom of the 9th inning as Quintero makes the tag at the plate. And then the throw to second. And it's 3-2 Padres. Second time. Heath Bell is the new pitcher, and David Eckstein stays in to play second, with Bell coming in with 8 saves and 9 opportunities.
Yeah, Heath Bell got the save last night. This is obviously the guy you want in there and led the National League in saves a year ago. Adrian Gonzalez over there on first base won the Gold Glove the last 2 years. Why wouldn't you put him in?
And it's Carlos Lee to lead it off in this one-run game. Lee has a single and a homer. Bell got save number 8 last night, and he struck out Lee looking to end the 2-1 Padre win. Carlos 4 for 8 against this right-hander.
Certainly starting to show signs, he and Hunter Pence, of getting it together a little bit. Both guys have 2 hits today. Let's see if they can continue.
Bell with 19 strikeouts in 13 innings. Throws a breaking pitch and check swing call. Ball 1. Tim Timmons with a call at first base.
Thank you, Tim Timmons.
El Caballo fans.
Every girl wants a pony, but I want El Caballo.
She wouldn't mind a souvenir from El Caballo right up there where she's standing.
She in left center field?
Yep. 1 ball, 1 strike. Right there would be a good spot.
Right about there. That'll make it 3-3.
Hunter Pence, who also homered right after Lee hit his home run in the 6th inning, is on deck. And Pedro Feliz 2 up third. Bell misses and the count goes to 2-1. Bell has allowed 1 homer in his 13 innings this year.
He looks like a closer, doesn't he?
He really does.
Very animated. Kind of jittery looking out there. Throws hard. Never gives in, though. That's one thing about him.
In the hole at shortstop, Hairston sets up, throws high. There we go. Lee is safe. He uncorked a wild throw, and Lee goes to second. Well, he took his time. Yeah, he just fired it.
Very nice. Happy Mother's Day right there.
4th error for Hairston.
Got his feet set up nicely. I don't know why that throw went awry. Let's take a look at this. Got his momentum going towards first base, but just air mailed it.
pinch runner for El Caballo. Look at Hundley jump in the air. Backing up the play. So Lee comes out for the pinch runner, Kazuo Matsui. And it's Hunter Pence now. Pence with 2 hits today, a single to right center and a home run, a long one to left center.
So in a situation like this, Hunter's looking to hit something hard on the right side, so pitchers usually try to throw something soft to make him pull it.
Strike one. Hunter did not face Keith Bell in last night's game.
Hunter drove the ball his last at bat like we haven't seen in quite a while. He's got to be feeling a lot better about himself.
It's 1-1. If the Astros can score 1 and yet not a second when they go to extra innings, Dave Clark, coach at third, trying to get Matsui some help. Well, if they score 1 and push it to extra frames, the Padres have already used 4 relievers in this game.
It's an advantage Houston after that. You know, Stauffer did a great job of getting 5 innings, but if it does go extra innings, he doesn't have the advantage.
Pence chops one up the middle. Matsui heads for third. Eckstein with the throw.
Good out.
1 out, runner at third for Pedro Feliz.
Good job of hitting by Hunter Pence right there. Anything to the right side to advance Matsui over to third base. I see Feliz get his 1,000th hit, but even a fly ball right here could tie the game. Wild pitch, fastball. Catcher's interference, what else?
Feliz, well, that's enough for now. Feliz 2 for 6, and it's Jeff Blum in the on-deck circle. And it's ball 1. Ari Manzella due up next. So the Astros get 2 shots at getting Matsui home from third.
Feliz probably looking to stay in the middle of the field.
Fly ball should do it. Way back into center for Gwynn. And it's a tie ball game. Matsui waltzing home. It's 3-3 as Pedro Feliz picks up RBI number 11. A run without a hit.
Great piece of hitting right there. Pedro Feliz gets a slider out over the plate a little bit. Usually the best way to stay behind the baseball is to think up the middle. That's what he did right there. Hit a perfect sacrifice fly, easily scoring Kazuo Matsui.
So Feliz gets the tying run home, and now it's Jeff Blum pinch hitting for Tommy Manzella. Hitting .333, no homers, 6 runs batted in. As a pinch hitter, he's 4 for 9, 4 runs batted in. There's strike 1 to him.
He's done a great job off the bench this year. A lot of people wondering why he doesn't play a little bit more. And I'm sure Brad Mills has been asked that question a few times, but I think sometimes people understand their limitations. I think Jeff's probably a guy that could do great probably 3 or 4 times a week, but he's very valuable off the bench.
He's had 54 at-bats this year. Had a pinch RBI single last night in the 8th inning for the Astros' only run. He rolls this one, and Adrian Gonzalez tosses to Bell. He gets the blown save, but the game goes to extra innings now. The Astros tie it with an unearned run in the 9th on no hits with an error. It's 3-3 through 9. And Jason Michaels, not too far from Union Station, takes over in left field for Carlos Lee. Michaels in the cleanup spot in the order. Jeff Blum stays in to play second base after pinch hitting for Tommy Manzella. He's in the 7th spot in the order. And Jeff Keppinger has moved from second base to shortstop. And now we get a pinch hitter. Oscar Salazar is coming up for the Padres, pinch hitting for Zawadski. Or for the pitcher, rather, Bell. He's in the 8th spot. So only Yorvit Torrealba is remaining on the bench for Bud Black, and that is ball 1. Salazar making his first appearance of the series. 143 for the season with 1 RBI.
Got a lot of power, just 1 double on the season.
He bangs out a single to left. Salazar now 2 for 14 pinch hitting. He's aboard for Adrian Gonzalez. Pretty powerful number 9 hitter here, Gonzalez.
I think he's batted in this order very much.
Probably not. He came in for defensive purposes at 267. He has 6 homers, 17 runs batted in. Gonzalez has walked 20 times. We won't expect a sacrifice bunt from him.
No, it doesn't look like it. You know, Brownie, I used to love to pitch on Sundays because a lot of teams would hold out guys like Gonzalez, so I didn't have to face him.
Well, he does bunt. And now Lindstrom will throw to first.
Wow. I wonder if that was given by the coaching staff or he did that on his own. I bet he did that on his own.
Might have.
So what kind of form Gonzalez has at this? This might be his first sacrifice bunt in the big leagues. That was pretty good right there. He just looks comfortable in the batter's box, whatever he's doing.
Yes. Certainly his first of this year anyway. Lindstrom gets him out. And now it's Tony Gwynn. And Gonzalez moves the runner over. That's his 3rd career sacrifice bunt. Gwynn is 2 for 4 with an RBI in the 5th inning.
He knocked in that 3rd run off Roy on a 3-1 fastball. Did a nice job of hitting on that pitch.
Strike on the Lindstrom slider. Will Venables on deck. Keith Bell in 1 inning allowed no hits, 1 run. It was not earned. He had no walks, no strikeouts. That's a tough blown save when it happens on an error.
Yeah, it was. He only had 6 of those last year.
Blum at second. Gets it to Berkman. Excellent play. 2 outs. Well, you mentioned these bench players. There's a guy with a tough play. He's just barely been in the game a couple of minutes now.
Especially coming in defensively with showing this kind of range. He's got very, very sure hands. You can put him at shortstop and not even blink. Main thing he wanted to do is just make sure he kept that in the infield at the very least. But he got around that ball, looks it in, and made a nice throw.
Venable is 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Fastball's in tight. There's ball 1 to him. Last 7 games, Lindstrom has not given up an earned run. Over 7 innings. This is the first time he's pitched more than 1 inning in a game this year.
How many times have you seen closers come in games that aren't in save situations and give up 3 or 4 runs?
Quite a bit.
So to his credit, he's done a nice job of focusing, concentrating, and getting his work in. He's gotten in a few jams, but he's gotten out of it as well.
He's thrown 21 pitches in this game. Through 17 last night. Day off coming tomorrow for the Astros. They'll be traveling to St. Louis.
That's going to play a big part in the rest of this game on how these managers handle their bullpens with the days off of both teams.
Fly ball. Jason Michaels comes in left. And Lindstrom puts up a scoreless 10th. In the bottom of the 10th for the Astros, Quintero, the pitcher spot, and Bourne. 3-3. right-hander who throws hard through 19 pitches Friday in a scoreless inning against the Astros and the Padres 7-0 win. That was his first major league outing.
Yet another huge right-hander for the Padres. All these guys are 6'5 plus, but this guy throws a fastball, curve, slider, plus fastball in the 93, 94 mile an hour range. Curveball and slider, obviously secondary pitches, but they're both above average.
Webb started the year at AAA. He was in 28 games as a Padre last year, but the Friday night game was first major league outing of this season.
Did a nice job coming in from Matt Latos. Latos threw 7 innings Friday night. This guy came in and did a nice job. These guys have a lot of height in the bullpen.
Well, they do, don't they? Webb is 6'6". Corey Sullivan on deck. Pitcher spot due up next. Quintero leads it off. He's 2 for 3. And ball 1. Even though that was a good appearance for Webb at the scoreless inning, that was with a 7-0 score on Friday, finishing the win for Latos.
Different ball game now. See what happens with a little something on the line right here.
His recall from Portland on May 4th. That was the first time he had pitched against the Astros on Friday. 1-1. Each club has 8 hits. The Padres have an error.
It's always important to get that leadoff hitter on so you can maybe bunt or move a guy over, get him in scoring position.
Eckstein fields the grounder. 1 out. Now it'll be Corey Sullivan pitch hitting for Matt Lindstrom, who in 2 innings allowed 2 hits, no runs. Had no walks, no strikeouts.
Brad Mills does a great job using the stench. It's an obvious situation to pinch hit, but a lot of these guys stay sharp because he uses them so often. Blum having one of his best years off the bench, I think mostly due to the fact that Brad Mills uses these guys so much. He'll get them a lot of starts as well.
Sullivan is the most often used pinch hitter for the Astros. He's 1 for 17, 2 runs batted in. That's strike 1 to Corey. Now Kevin Cash is the remaining bench player for the Astros, and Yorvit Torrealba, the remaining San Diego bench player. Bouncer back to the pitcher Webb. 2 outs.
Interesting sequence right there. A lot of times pinch hitters come off the bench looking for that first fastball. Ryan Webb threw him a changeup first pitch, kind of locked him up, and then that fastball after seeing that changeup got him a little bit tardy.
Well, Webb was outstanding. He faces Michael Bourne now as 1 for 4, but at Portland this year he was in 9 games and did not give up a run over 10 innings, allowing 6 hits and striking out 10. Upstairs for ball 1.
It's tough weather early in the season in Portland, Oregon. I pitched there at the beginning of the season one year, I think in 2005, and really cold and rainy. Advantage pitcher. Hitters hate to hit in situations like that.
Yeah, they do.
Figure if the pitcher's at least moving around a little bit more than that guy, he's got an advantage.
Webb came in the Hairston trade from Oakland last year. 2 balls and a strike. He was traded for Scott Hairston July 5th.
Now they're teammates.
Yeah, Scott re-signing as a free agent over the winter. Line shot goes foul. 2-2 to Bourne.
I would imagine if Michael could get on right here, he would try to steal early on in the count, give Keppinger an opportunity with a runner in scoring position. Got to get on first.
And the breaking pitch works for Webb, striking out Bourne to end the 10th inning with the score tied 3-3. inning, and Brandon Lyon will be pitcher number 3 for the Astros. And Lindstrom went the 9th and 10th innings, and now Lyon, who's 1-1 with a 4.05 ERA, takes over.
Free agent acquisition from the Detroit Tigers, kind of replaced LaTroy Hawkins or Valverde, along with Matt Lindstrom. Brandon Lyon's come on strong his last 8 or 9 outings. Hasn't given up a run. He's got a great fastball, low 90s, curveball, and slider.
Lyon pitched last night, 1 scoreless inning. He dodged a hit and 2 walks, and with the bases loaded in the 8th inning, he retired or beat Torrealba on a 3-2 pitch on a fly ball to right field. So he really had to labor through that outing, and he threw 31 pitches last night.
Got the day off tomorrow. He'll probably only come in for 1 inning today. Got a lot of guys left out there in the bullpen.
Headley leads it off. Chase taking ball 1. Headley singled in the 8th inning to left. He's 1 for 4. Grounds one back to Lyon. Good play for the first out.
One thing you'll notice about Brandon, he's a good athlete, number 1. But number 2, he'll get in situations where he won't give in. He won't come right down the middle with any pitch. He'll walk you if he has to, but he knows late in the game any one pitch can mean the difference. So he'll throw to the outside corner, or he'll throw breaking pitch and fastball counts.
Well, that's what he did last night.
3-2 slider in that inning, yep.
And now it's Scott Hairston. Hairston 1 for 4. Now Brandon walked the first man last night, Scott Hairston. Then he gave up a single to Eckstein. Got Gonzalez on a liner, struck out Headley, then a walk. Fly ball, and into right center. It's Pence and Bourne going for it. And Bourne. 2 outs.
Former teammate of Brandon Lyon, Scott Hairston, right there. He knows he's a first pitch fastball hitter, so he threw him a little cutter right there. Looked like a fastball for a long time, then just went out to the end of his bat and got an easy fly ball.
Hairston retired. Eckstein the batter. Eckstein came up with a pinch double in the 9th inning, and then was thrown out at the plate on the ground ball to Manzella. Well, that's the thing about doing what Bud Black did today, resting some of his regulars. He's been able to bring Eckstein and Gonzalez off the bench in the late innings.
Yeah, he's got a better lineup now than when he started.
Grounded to third. Feliz. It's a 1-2-3, 11th for Brandon Lyon. Now the Astros got Temperature, Berkman, and Michaels 2 up.
1:30 Central in high definition, only on Fox. Rowdy, back to you.
Thank you, Bart. Bottom of the 11th inning. It is Keppinger, Berkman, and Michaels due up. And Ryan Webb had a 1-2-3-10. He's getting ready for his second inning of work. He is pitcher number 6 of the day for Bud Black. Jeff Keppinger is 0 for 4. 3 ground outs and a fly ball to right.
Part of the order coming in right now. Good time to win the ball game.
Keppinger takes, and it's strike 1 to Jeff.
Send a lot of people in pink home happy.
Oh, yeah. Keppinger with a one-hopper.
Yeah.
Headley drops it.
Saw that one coming. Thought it was going to be a little in-betweener. Headley pulled his head up right there. Went off the heel of his glove.
Well, an error to open the 9th. Open the door for the Astros to score an unearned run. Now another error. Opens the bottom of the 11th.
Right off the heel of his glove right there. He's looking that ball in right there, but sometimes when you think it might be a short hop, it kind of throws you off a little bit. He knew he was going to have to get rid of it quickly.
That's the 6th error for Headley, and now it's Berkman batting. One career walk-off hit. Home run against St. Louis, and he is 1 for 4, a double today. Ground ball into left field. Keppinger to second, and it's first and second, nobody out now for Jason Michaels.
Can't tell you what a good sign that is to see Berkman and Pence and Lee stay on the balls like they are today. A lot of tough pitches. This is a tough pitch here, right here on the outside corner, but Lance does a good job of staying behind the ball and just going with the pitch, something that a lot of these guys in the middle of the order haven't done lately.
Now Bud Black is coming out. Runners at first and second, and nobody out. Jason Michaels will be the batter.
Bud Black's thinking right now, all right, who's my best fielding pitcher? Who can I bring in right now? Probably going to be a bunt situation. Situation right here, the bunt, you want to bunt it to the third baseman to make him field it coming off the bag. The shortstop would have to come all the way from shortstop to cover the bag there. It's a tough play. Bunted it to the right side, first baseman has an easier throw to make it to third base. That's what Bud Black was talking about right there, is just a little strategy on what they want to do with the bunt situation right there. They obviously know Michaels hasn't bunted a whole lot, so if they can get him to make a bad bunt, they may want to take a chance on trying to force the runner at third base right here.
200 batting average with a couple of homers for Michaels. Wheel play is on. He takes, and it's a strike.
That's a situation right there where the base runners have to be very alert not to let somebody come in from behind them for a pickoff. When a guy misses a bunt and gets all the way to the catcher, a lot of times catchers are taught to throw to one of those bases.
Michaels had a pinch hit at bat last night. Grounded out against Heath Bell in the 9th inning. He started in right field Friday night, was 0 for 3. Gets the bunt down. Headley throws to third, and they get the force play there.
That's what Bud Black was talking about on the mound. Being very aggressive, charging that ball. Headley came in as quickly as he could. Catcher directs everybody else out on the ball field. Let them know where the throw is going to go. You see Eckstein take off early so he can get to third base to cover. Nick Hundley letting Headley know where to throw the ball and had him by about a step and a half.
Hairston with the stretch.
It's usually play number 3 on the bunt chart right there. On the fielding the bunts. Guys go over this play a lot in spring training.
Now Hunter Pence with runners at first and second and 1 out. And it's ball 1. He's 2 for 4, a single and a homer. 4 walk-off hits. Pedro Feliz is on deck.
This would go a long way for Hunter to get a big hit right here, confidence-wise.
Line drive, deep left center field. That is a game-winning hit for Hunter Pence. Lance Berkman scores, and the Astros claim it in the bottom of the 11th inning, 4-3.
That's how you do it, Hunter. That's big. Hunter Pence coming up big. Mother's Day. His mom's here. Look how excited he is. He's like a little kid.
Happy Mother's Day, Gail Pence. Hunter comes through with a liner to the gap in left center, and the Astros take it 4-3.
Sean Berry is one of the first guys out there to congratulate him. You can bet that those two guys have spent a ton of time together in the last month and a half. Great job covering the outside part of the plate right there. Webb leaves the ball elevated a little bit. You can't do that to Hunter Pence. He can put a charge behind the balls like that.
Berkman scores the winning run. The inning starts with an error, and then the Astros get a hit from Berkman. The bunt play into a force, and then Pence makes it all a very happy day for Brad Mills, even though he got tossed for the first time as an Astros manager. And let's find out more with Hunter and Greg Lucas on the field.
Thanks a lot, guys. Well, here's a happy guy, Hunter Pence. I'll tell you what, not only was it great for you to have a 3-hit game, but the big three all had multiple hit games today. Maybe this is the start.
Heck yeah, Roy just keeps pitching great for us. The bullpen's been fighting, and, we just got up there and tried to fight, claw, scratch, and find a way to get some runs across for him, and it feels good to finally do it.
I'll tell you what, tell me about that last at-bat, the one that won the ball game. What were you looking for? What did you get?
Just trying to be ready to hit and get something over the plate. I'd never seen the guy before. He threw me a first pitch slider. I was, just trying to find a way to get something over the plate that I could put the barrel on.
Not only did you win the game with it, but that was one of the best hit balls you've had for a while.
Just continuing to work, Sean, and, I'm starting to feel a lot better up there, but really, the pitching just keeps pulling through for us, and it's a big team win tonight. Carlos Lee getting us started with that big home run, and just great defense, great hitting all the way around, and finding a way to get on and to have the opportunity to do that.
Both of you were part of that with the back-to-back homers because it was not looking good. Roy was pitching great, but down again. But those two home runs got you back in the game and seemed to really make it a real ball game from then on.
I think everything, just the momentum switched. Millsy's fighting for us. Unfortunately got thrown out of the game, but, everyone's trying everything they can, and, it feels good to finally get a win to end the homestand and, go on this road. And you never know in the game of baseball. This team's got a lot of talent, a lot of heart, and we just got to keep fighting.
You got 27,000 fans that are happy for you, but I know Mom has to be real happy, too.
Yeah, she's in the hospital right now. She had a bad fall, but, Mom, I love you, and I hope you're feeling better.
Thanks for stopping by, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
Hunter Pence has been with us. The big hero is the Astros win it in extra innings. Back to you guys.